So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening for our introduction to initial teacher training here at the National Institute of Teaching. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody managed to stay safe this week from the pummeling winds and is enjoying a nice bit of calm this evening. My name's Dom. I'm the ITT recruitment manager here at the NIOT, and my role essentially is working with all of the participants who want to apply for our ITT program here at the NIOT. I was a history teacher in the distant past and worked in a secondary school in London for several years, so I do remember the feeling of exploring teacher training routes, and I know what that's like. So hopefully we can help you out this evening with some really useful information. So I'll be hosting you this evening for this webinar, but we also are graced by some fantastic colleagues from the NIOT initial teacher training team. So I'll just hand over to them briefly to say hello and introduce themselves. So I'll just hand over to Emma first of all.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're really well. My name is Emma Cooper and I am an IT tutor for the North and East. Previous to this, I was an Associate Vice Principal at a school, one of the Outward schools, and I absolutely love working for the NIOT, and I'm hoping that you can feel that passion and enthusiasm this evening, and I'll look forward to speak to you later. I'll hand over to Emily now. Thank you.
Hi everybody, so my name is Emily Beach. I am the head of the Initial Teacher Education faculty for the National Institute of Teaching. I've worked in early teacher development for the last 8 and 9 years, working with trainees and also early career teachers. But at the heart of hearts, I am a secondary English teacher. So it's lovely to welcome you all this evening. Thank you.
And Olivia, just want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, apologies. Hi everybody, it's lovely to see you all here today. My name's Olivia Bennett. I am the Head of Partnerships for the National Institute of Teaching in the North and East region, looking after our recruitment to ITT, ECF and NPQ, and maintaining strategic relationships across the region as well. So it's exciting to have you here today. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Olivia. So you'll get a chance to hear from everybody this evening, but I'm going to kick us off. We are really excited that you've taken your time to join us this evening. The teaching sector needs amazing teachers now more than ever. So we're really thrilled that you've decided to learn more about what we have to offer here at the NIOT. Just a brief bit of housekeeping. You will notice if you're an aficionado of webinars and this kind of tech, there is no chat function this evening. So if you would like to ask us a question, you will see in your tab bar at the top the Q&A tab. If you click that, you are very welcome to ask us questions throughout the webinar, and we will be happy to answer as many as we can at the end, although must be said that we probably won't be able to answer all the questions that you have, but we will make a note of them and make sure that they are answered afterwards. What I would say about the questions is, because of the amount of people that we have joining this evening, it won't be possible for us to answer questions about your personal circumstances or eligibility. So if you do have questions about that, we're very happy to follow up with you after the webinar to have a one-to-one conversation. So questions for this evening are best kept around more kind of general questions around the programme, or questions that might be useful for other people to hear the answer to as well. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to kick us off just with a quick agenda. So we're going to talk about what the National Institute of Teaching is and the kind of main benefits of training with us. We'll also look at an overview of our programme, how it's structured, the support we provide and how you're actually assessed on the programme as a trainee teacher. And then we'll look at funding and course length information. And finally, our application process and eligibility requirements for the programme. And then most importantly of all, we'll give you some useful next steps that you can take in your journey to applying with us. So I think a good place to start is probably on this slide, what actually is the National Institute of Teaching. Some of you may have heard of us, but we are a relatively new organisation. We are only formed in 2022, so there's also a very good chance that you haven't heard of us. So the National Institute of Teaching was essentially created by 4 of the country's largest academy trusts, Harris, Outward, Oasis and Star. Now you may have heard of one of those trusts before. They operate a huge range of schools across the country. And these 4 trusts kind of came together to create the School-Led Development Trust and then operate the National Institute of Teaching. We're now very ably supported as well by a network of associate colleges across the country, and these are really integral partners who work with us to deliver the content that the National Institute of Teaching creates, and it means that we can really expand our reach to kind of more parts of the country through our work with these associate colleges. In terms of purpose, it's a really kind of simple one, really, not an easy one, but a simple one, that we really want to boost the quality of teaching and school leadership. Now, there's so many amazing things happening in school every day, and it can be quite difficult to harness that. So what we really want to do is kind of carry out really structured and kind of well-intentioned research, gain all of that best practice, and then apply the insights that we've got from that to the delivery of all of our programs. Now, we do operate several programs. We talking about initial teacher training tonight, but if you do begin your career as a teacher, once you've completed your training, you will then go into the early career framework, which is the program that all kind of newly qualified teachers join. After that, you may want to complete a national professional qualification in middle or senior leadership or even headship, and the National Institute of Teaching runs that golden thread of programs. So we want to be there to support teachers from their very first day as a trainee all the way through to, you know, a very experienced school leaders as well. Our vision really is to create that school system that really nurtures the talents of teachers and leaders. As I said, that we've got so many wonderful staff working in our school, and we just want to be there to support them, essentially, because obviously the most important thing is the children that we're teaching, and we really want them to have that kind of world-class education that they deserve. So this is the kind of purpose and vision of the Institute, and as I said, although we're a young organisation, that we've made really big strides so far in kind of working towards this, and we've got hopefully many more years to come to continue making that impact. So in terms of the benefits of training with us, so you're going to hear, you know, most of this throughout the presentation this evening, just to give you a bit of a whistle-stop kind of rundown. So similar to a lot of training providers, we do offer you personally a range of funding options. So you'll hear more about it later, but whether you want to apply for a salaried position or one of our scholarships or bursaries that are offered by the government each year, we even offer an apprenticeship program as well for those already working in schools. So there's lots of options for you to support yourself financially on our programs. We also offer as well, which I think is a really good benefit, the flexibility to choose how you want to train. So if you're able to train 5 days a week, that's great. You can complete your training in a year. But if you don't have that opportunity, you can choose to train 4 or 3 days a week as well. We have a really great range of school placements across the country. As I said, we have both our kind of central NIOT campuses and our associate colleges as well, spread all over the country, as I'll talk about shortly. Emma's going to talk about this, but we have a very immersive school-based training, which has a protected 1 day a week for learning and reflection. And we also have amazing support as well, which I'll let Emma discuss too. And also for me, one of the most important things is that you'll be joining this nationwide cohort. So obviously you want to join a teacher training program for yourself, but it is really, really important, as somebody who also joined the nationwide cohort when I trained, to have that really good peer support network, people who are going through the same things as you, and people who you can basically, you know, laugh and cry with on a day-to-day basis as you go through the ups and downs of being a trainee teacher. And it's really great to think now that our current cohort, our first cohort actually, who started in September 2023, are now a short way into their second term as trainee teachers, obviously ably supported by Emily and Emma, and we'll be able to hear a couple of things about our current cohort this evening as well. So finally, for me, before I hand over to Emma to talk about the programme, is just a little bit about where we work in the country. So as the name suggests, we are a national organisation, and it's really important for us to kind of have that wide reach. We want to be able to reach as many schools and teachers and students as possible to really maximise our impact. So we work in 4 key regions across the country, as you can see on the screen. When you apply to the National Institute of Teaching, how it works is, rather than applying to us in general, you will apply to a specific NIOT campus or associate college. Okay, so our campuses and associate colleges, have kind of fully retained their own identities, and when you kind of go onto the site to apply, the easiest thing to do is to type in your postcode and then just have a look at the closest NIOT provider to you. We have schools in Cornwall, and we have schools up in Newcastle, and everywhere in between. So there is likely to be an NIOT campus or associate college or school within your vicinity that you can train in, and we're hoping to obviously expand this in the years to come as well. We do work with you to match you to a school that that is convenient for you. You will do the majority of your training in one school, not completely, but the majority will be in one school. And both during and after the interview process, should you get that far, we are very receptive to your personal circumstances, and we want to work with you to ensure that we place you in a school that kind of works for you and your circumstances. It must be said that the date that you apply, where you're currently based, and any extenuating circumstances you've got are very important, and we absolutely take those into account. And the date of application one for me is a really important one to flag now as we're into the new year. The earlier you apply, the more options we've got in terms of those school placements. So I will say now, if you like what you hear this evening and you want to submit an application with us, I really can't stress enough that making that application as early as possible really is the best way to go. Great, so that's a brief overview of the NIOT. I'm now going to hand over to Emma, who's going to chat us through the ITT programme itself.
Thank you, Dom, so much. Just to say to everyone, it's fantastic that you've taken the next steps and are finding out more, because it really is, teaching is a job where you can change the world. So to take that first step, you are taking the next step towards changing young people's lives, which is just absolutely fantastic. So I'm ready when you are for the slides, Dom, if that's okay. Thank you. So our course is an immersive course. It really does put you at the forefront of teaching and gives you a real experience of what it is like. So from the very beginning, we start with our Flying Start. Now that is 1 week of training at your campus with your tutor. You'll meet others that are in the subject areas that you're in. You'll meet all of the trainees in your cohort, and you'll learn the key skills that are going to help you to quite literally make that flying start. So when you start at your school in September, you can hit the ground running. Now, during that flying start, we'll look at key reading that you can do to prepare yourself. We'll look at how you can get to know the school. We'll make sure that you are connected with the school that you are going to, and we'll teach those core behaviour management and relationship skills that everybody needs to get the best out of those first moments within your school, because quite literally from September you are part of that school, and you will go in and start on the inset day and meet everyone, and it just gives you that absolute preparation, that beautiful start that you need when you start in September with us. Now, from September onwards, you will join us once a week at your campus with your tutors for training, and the other 4 days, if you take the full-time option, will be based around school. Now, the most beautiful part of our programme is the intensive training and practice units that we offer, because they really help you to get a grasp on what you need to be the best teacher possible for your subject. So in terms of that, at the moment, we start on the get-go in September with behaviour and relationships. It follows beautifully from Flying Start, and you look at how you can manage a classroom, your domain, how you can form those lasting relationships, those professional relationships within your school, within your department, and how you can really get to the nitty-gritty of getting to know your learners and how you are best to support them, and how you can run and own a classroom. And we have amazing people that talk to us online, such as we've had Tom Sherrington. That's correct, Emily, isn't it? I'm just waiting for the nod. We've had some amazing lectures from all sorts of people. It doesn't just come from the tutor, and we get those booked in, and they will change every year, but key practitioners that can give you the best advice. Now, on top of this, you'll start in schools from the 1st of September. It couldn't be better because the schools have inset days, so it gives you those couple of days to get to know your department, your surroundings, and make sure that you're comfortable in that setting. You'll get a map and you can have a walk around when the corridors are beautifully clear, which is absolutely a joy, because when you are in the throes of school, navigating your way around with the full corridors is a different story. And not only that, you'll feel the support from us. We will check in on you as tutors, but also your mentor. Now, all of you will have a mentor in your placement. Not only that, you'll also have a managing mentor as well. There's those layers there that really look after and support you. And the feedback we've had from trainees is that our course and the team at NIOT are just so supportive. There's always someone you can go to, someone who can help you both in school and outside of school. And I think that's just beautiful feedback and really shows the course for what it is. When you start in schools, we'll not throw you in the deep end. We'll not say, right, you are off to teach straight away. You will get that time to observe. And we'll not only give you that time, but we'll guide your observation. So from the work that we do with you on Thursday, you'll know what you are looking for. And we will meet you every Thursday for training. And that training will link in with what you are doing in the schools. So you will really see a holistic approach to what we are doing. And we really take into consideration the point that you are at in your training. And we build you up gradually. Now, our teacher training consists of you not only teaching on your own, but also in combination with another teacher, which is fabulous because you feel that you've got that scaffold there in the class. It's not just you, you've got that person there that you can go to. And it just works really well along that with the observations. Now, how do you qualify as a teacher? You're in the schools, you're coming to our training. We'll have the full year's course from September through to July. You will gain qualified teacher status, but you will also be studying for a PGCE. PGCE will involve you doing 2 assignments, and they will absolutely link to what you do in school. And then your final point of evidence will be an evidence portfolio. Now, in that evidence portfolio, it could be lesson plans, it could be pictures of an extracurricular activity that you've chosen to run, anything that is evidence. But it's very simple, it's very scaffolded across the year with nice gaps between the assignments. And again, the word support comes to mind. So much support for everything you do. Can we move on to the next slide, please, Dom?
Sure.
Thank you. Now, I've touched upon that support, and we've decided to show you now some quotes from some of our trainees. And I think if you give those a read, I'm not going to read them out to you, but they just show you the kind of journey that a trainee will go on. I'll just give you a couple of moments to read through those. Now, there's something that shines out for me there, and it's community and cohort and connection. 3 C's. And that is what we are. You will have a cohort of trainees that are there to support you, not only in your subject, but also in the area that you are in, because again, we meet every Thursday. Now, sometimes primary and secondary trainees may train separately, but we always come together a few times a term. You will meet new people, and you'll find that that dialogue that you have with them, people are going through the same thing as you, and I think that's fabulous. And I know a lot of the subject groups, the science cohort, they have training together, and it's all about everyone being filled to the brim with confidence and knowing that they've got different tiers and levels of support. We are a community at the NIOT. We often have national training where we are all online together across the country, and that's really special and something that I haven't seen with other training providers unless they are national. So with university training providers, you are very much in that area. Now, for us, The intensive training and practice is a new thing this year as part of the DFE requirements, but the feedback that we've had from the trainees is to have that block condensed all at once on different subject areas really works for them and makes them think. And they've said to me it comes at the right time for where they are. The behaviour and relationships, it couldn't come at a better time than at the beginning of the programme, because it helps them to lay down the foundations. Without that, they wouldn't be able to plan, they wouldn't be able to teach and take it through to the next steps. So the programme, I believe, and I will say this, is absolutely rigorous and there for the trainees to build your levels all the way through to your ECT year, and you'll feel fully ready for that with the way the course is structured and how we run things. Dom, I'm ready for the next slide, thank you. So what support do we, I've said support 100 times today and I will continue to say it. You will all have access to a mentor in school, and that mentor will meet you weekly. It is an hour and a half they will have with you. They will observe you because you will always have somebody in the classroom with you. So you'll have observation notes, looking for the strengths. We are very much a strength-based and coaching-based practice, so we're not just there to tear the practice apart. We look for all your strengths and the highest point of leverage for you, and that is what your mentor will do and will be there to support. You also have an in-school managing mentor. Now they will oversee the programme, they'll deliver weekly training to you in school, they'll make sure that you have the safeguarding training you need, and they will talk to you about the core training that we offer. Everything we do on this course triangulates from the work you do with your mentor to the training that your managing mentor will deliver to you. It all links with what we do on Thursdays and the point in the course. It is so cohesive. I love the C words today, and it just moves together really, really well. And then you'll have one of me in your region, so you'll have your own tutor. My day-to-day is I'm in regular contact with all my trainees. You'll receive visits, so you will have 3 visits a year with a QA, but you'll have more than that because we can come in, we observe you regularly. We also see you every Thursday for the delivery of your core training and ITAP. And we're only an email or a phone call or a Teams meeting away. We are there to fully support you. Now, not only that, but you will also, and it's not on the slide, but you'll also have a subject lead. That subject lead will take you through your subject-based training. If you're a primary practitioner, oh, thank you, Dom. If you're a primary practitioner, you will have a primary subject lead that's holistically overseeing everything. If you are a secondary-based trainee, you will not only get the delivery of the training from a very highly qualified subject lead, many of them are directors for different trusts, or they've worked across different trusts in regards to your subject. And they will also come and observe you in your school practice as well. So you'll get that particular strong feedback regarding subject and pedagogy. You will also have access to a support and wellbeing officer. Any support that you need, the tutor will often meet with you with the support and wellbeing officer. It's totally holistic. It's not just looking at support you need in a school from an educational basis, but support with mental health and wellbeing. We also have access to the employee assistance programme for free and impartial advice. We also work for SEND and any requirements there, we can help you with that. We work with occupational health. We have a really strong process and procedure that we go through with them. No stone is unturned when it comes to supporting our trainees to be the best teachers they can be, but not at the compromise of the best self that they can be. It works all together, and that's one thing. If you're not your best self, you'll not be the best in the classroom, and vice versa. So it's very holistic how we support you. I'm ready for the next slide, thank you. Just finally, to look at our assessments, and I briefly touched upon this earlier. You can either apply for the QTS, which would mean it's an ongoing assessment throughout the year based on observations, successful observations, evidence of the meetings that you've had with mentors, tutors, and any successes that you've had. And you are assessed against our ITE curriculum, which is 6 strands. And when you join us, you will understand the 6 strands, but they are such as behaviour and relationships, professional standards, assessment and responsive teaching. And it's all linked with the teacher standards at the end of the programme. And you'll have 3 reports along the way. And the beautiful thing is with our reports, it's the same document, just with different coloured highlights. So you can really see your progress from term 1 to term 2 to term 3. If you'd like to do the PGCE, we work in partnership with the University of Birmingham, and you will end up with 2 assignments, one that is set in September and the hand-in for that is December, and that is linked with cognitive science, which is such a prevalent and important area that teachers must know about and look at. And we look at that in direct relation with your subject. And you get reading and writing retreats that will help you with that, draft copy feedback, and again, a supportive environment. The second assignment, which is normally due in March, is based around SEND needs and scaffolding and being able to adapt your teaching for different needs. And you will follow a cohort or an individual within your placement school, look at the data and interventions that you will then test out. It's just, again, hands-on. None of the assignments that we set are for assignment purpose. They link directly with everything that you are doing within your schools. And the aim is to make you be a reflective practitioner and take that time away to look at how you can be even better within the classroom. And the final part of the PGC assignment is that portfolio of evidence that you do day to day, but it's just to make sure that you are meeting those teacher standards. We don't do anything for the sake of doing it on this course. Everything is there to make you the best and most reflective practitioner that you can possibly be. Because again, like I've said at the beginning of this presentation, the job of teaching is we're there to change the world. We are going to be changing the futures of some of these children. And again, I'll say life chances through our help, through our guidance, through our teaching. We are going to change the life chances of children to make them see that they can go on to bigger and brighter and amazing things. It's a fantastic profession to join, and this course makes you the best you can be. Can I just add something, Dom, super quick? I don't think it's covered in the slide, but some of you may be thinking, right, that's great, but what about employment afterwards? That's another great thing about our course, because we are so ingrained within the trusts and we work with the different trusts and different schools. We are the first to find out about jobs. We are the first to kind of put our trainees forwards for jobs. And at the moment in the North and East, our secondary cohort, 70% of the secondary trainees, it might have gone up actually, have got jobs secured for September. And that is up against other trainees from around the country, and we've been the first pick, which tells us that our course is really, really pushing our trainees to be the best that they can be at this point in time. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Emily now, and thank you for listening, and hope to meet some of you soon if you are in our region.
Thank you, Emma. That was really comprehensive and our vision was made really clear. So thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to focus now for the next few minutes on the funding information. So we have 3 main programmes in terms of age and phase. So we have a primary 3 to 7 programme, we have a primary 5 to 11 programme, and we have a secondary 11 to 16 programme. And for each of those programmes, there are 3 potential funding routes. And we'll go into a little bit more detail for each of these, but just to give you an overview, the first funding option is fee paying. So tuition fee non-salaried route. So there are 2 options here. It's for you as the candidate to pay for those fees. The current fees are £9,250. If you are in receipt of a bursary or a scholarship, and that is decided upon by the government for particular subjects, which tend to be those subjects in high demand, you could pay for the £9,250 fees through that bursary, or alternatively, you can apply for Student Finance England to cover those fees. The second option that we have is the salaried route. So you would become an employee of that school and you would receive a salary from the school in which you are employed. And then the second route, which again we'll go into a little bit more information about, is the PGTA. So that's the apprenticeship route. As it says here, it's nationally recognised. Again, you would become an employee of that school and you would earn a salary whilst you are training to teach. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more information about each of those funding options. Thank you, Dom. So the first one relates to the fee paying. So as you can see here, we have outlined the DFE eligibility for the next academic year, and this can change year on year. But we can see here in the left-hand column the subjects that are listed for secondary and the scholarships or the bursaries that are available to you. So for example, if I was a mathematics applicant and I have a 2-2 degree, I would be eligible for £28,000, which is tax-free. And the way that it is paid to you as a trainee is in 10 monthly instalments. So each month you would receive £2,800. And as I said previously, you could choose to pay for your fees through the £28,000, or you could also apply for Student Finance England to pay for those fees as well. But hopefully you can see the breakdown here of all of the different subjects and what you would be entitled to from the government to cover the costs. Thank you, Dom. Can we move on to the next one? Thank you. So the second option is a salaried option. So again, this is where you would be employed by a school, and we've outlined here the pay scale for unqualified teachers. Usually, the school would decide to pay you on the first incremental step of the unqualified teacher pay scale, which you can see here. But also your training fees will be paid for by your school. So not only will you get that monthly salary, the £9,250,000 will be paid for by the school. Thank you, Dom. And finally, the third option is the apprenticeship route. Usually this is for somebody who, well, it is, not usually, it is for somebody that's working in a school as an unqualified teacher or a high-level teaching assistant, and the school decides that they want to put you through a teacher training programme, and therefore if you are based in a school and they have a position for you, you can apply for this particular route. Very similar to the salaried route, you will receive a monthly salary, and you can see here the first incremental step, but also the school will pay for your training fees. So we've got three separate routes there for each of our three programmes. We've got the non-salaried fee-paying route, which you can apply for Student Finance England for the fees, or if you're eligible for a bursary, you can pay for the fees through that. We have the salaried route, and then we also have the postgraduate teaching apprenticeship route. Thank you, Dom. Okay, and finally, I did see a question come up in the Q&A on this, and Olivia has very helpfully outlined these options. So we have a full-time route. So as Emma said, that is 4 days a week in your placement school, and then 1 day a week, which is on a Thursday, you will attend core training. We have a part-time route, which is 4 days a week. So that's one whole academic year with an additional term, and that's 3 days a week in school with the Thursday back in the training centre. And then the third option is a 3-day week. So the academic year is extended by 2 terms. You have 2 days a week in a school and 1 day a week in training. And the fees are slightly higher for part-time training. If there are specific questions that you have regarding the finances of those 2 part-time options, then we would of course encourage you to contact your region or your associate college, and they will talk you through those specific sort of routes. Thank you, Dom. I think we're back to you now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Emily and Emma. Really great to hear the kind of programme being brought to life there. And hopefully that was really useful for everyone on the call to get a really kind of deep understanding of kind of how the programme is structured and how everything works. We're coming towards the end now, and I'm going to move on to the nuts and bolts almost of kind of how you can join. Now, I'm hoping that you've just been so compelled tonight by all the information that you've heard that you're just going to dash off this webinar, jump straight on the apply portal and submit your application, of course. And this will kind of show you what you'd be going through if you decided to do that. So we have a very straightforward application process. First of all, we do recommend that you chat with somebody at the NIOT before submitting an application. It may be the case now that you feel that you've got all the information you need, you know that you're eligible, you know what course you want to apply for, you know that it's fee funded or it's salaried, and you just want to go ahead with it, and that's fine. If you do have any questions though about your eligibility or your personal circumstances or school placements locally, we would encourage you to speak to a member of our team. We do have a recruitment teams across the country in our 4 regions who are very capable and very kind of willing to answer questions. So that's a really good first step to take. Once you know that you want to apply and so you've got the information you need, you can apply via the DFE Apply portal. So all of our courses are listed on here. The easiest thing to do is to search via your home postcode or where you want to teach, and then you can search for the closest NIOT provider. You can also just type in National Institute of Teaching to the provider list, and that will bring up all of our provision across the country, and you can select from there as well. You'll also need to, at this stage, select your course that you want to apply for, as I said, whether that be geography, salaried, or whether that be primary 3 to 7. You'll need to know that when you submit that application. The application process is very simple and is the same as if you be applying across multiple providers. You just input your personal details and career and education history, and then write your personal statement. This isn't the time to discuss the kind of in-depth about how to write a great personal statement. But my tip on this one quickly would just be to say, we really want to see your motivation for why you want to get into teaching. Why do you, why is teaching the profession that's calling out to you? And it doesn't need to be something contrived. It can be something completely honest of, why you feel this is the profession for you. And then supplement that with any transferable skills you have or any experience you have of working in schools or with children, just to bring that to life. But we really just want to get to know who you are and why you want to join our program. So as long as you do those things, I'm sure the personal statement will be successful. If it is, we will invite you to interview. Now, our interviews take place remotely or in person, depending on where in the country you apply, which one of our NIOT campuses or associate colleges you apply to. You'll undertake some interview questions where we want to, we'll essentially get to know you and your motivations a little bit better. You'll complete a 4-minute teaching episode, not to actual students, but to an assessment panel who are acting as students. So it's always an enjoyable part of the interview to watch grown adults acting as 5-year-olds. And then finally, you'll be completing some written assessments on professionalism and subject knowledge. So just for us to get a little bit of a flavour of your written communication. If we would like to make you an offer at interview, then we will, and then you have the choice to accept that offer. Once you're made an offer and you've accepted it, you then need to go through the onboarding and registration process with us. So this is all of the usual kind of compliance related tasks to complete: references, proof of qualifications, proof of right to work, a DBS check, and all of the other things as well. Once you've accepted an offer with us, we really like to think that you're part of the NIOT family already, even if it's a few months away before you start the programme. We really want to keep you engaged and excited about starting. So we'll kind of keep in touch with you as soon as you accept that offer throughout the year before you start, just to make sure that you're fully prepped, fully ready, and have all the information you need to begin Flying Start in July. So in terms of eligibility, then you can see our criteria on the screen now. So the main thing that we require is an undergraduate degree at 2.2 or above, or a recognised equivalent qualification if you have studied overseas. Okay, we do look at degrees on a case-by-case basis, so if you're unsure, we do encourage you to speak to us. However, this is our baseline requirement for applications to our program. We also require a GCSE at grade C or 4 in the new lingo, in English or maths for secondary, and also science if you want to teach primary as well. These ones are non-negotiable. You can choose to take an equivalency test if you don't have the required GCSEs, but you will need to either have that GCSE or an equivalent or an equivalency test completed in order to complete the program with us. And finally, you will need the right to work in the UK. Again, this is non-negotiable. We cannot sponsor visas here at the NIOT in any circumstances. So you will need the full right to work in the UK for the duration of the program, from the very start to the end, and you'll need to prove that to us as well. I'm sure there may be some people tonight who studied overseas and who want to find out more. Very difficult to be general about your qualifications because they're very specific to you. So all we can say on this is that if you have gained qualifications outside of the UK, you need to go to the UK ENIC website and you need to check with that organisation if your qualifications are comparable to UK qualifications. If they are, and you can provide proof of that, they do provide certificates of comparability. We will need to see that in order to confirm your eligibility. In terms of what else we look for once we know that you're eligible, we recruit on a range of competencies. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the main things that we want to see both in your personal statement and your interview is that motivation for getting into teaching. We really want to understand why teaching is the profession for you. And then throughout your personal statement and interview as well, we're really looking for the skills that you can see here: planning and organisation, resilience, self-reflection and communication. These are the things that kind of really do make an amazing teacher. We don't say that you have to be perfect in all of these skills, of course, but we want to see examples of kind of when you have shown these things and that you can bring these to the table as part of your application. Subject knowledge is not the most important thing within your application, but of course it is a very important part of being a teacher, and we will assess that subject knowledge, as I said, as part of the interview. So it is definitely worth considering that when you're thinking about what courses you would like to apply for. So we have reached the 6:45 mark. I'm going to pause there because we've had lots of information coming your way. There's only really one more thing for us to go through, which is the next steps if you would like to submit your application, which I'll save till the end of the call. It would be great now to see if there's any questions that have come in that may be useful to answer on the call, Olivia, or have they all been answered throughout very capably by yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Dom. Both in the chat and by yourselves through the course of the presentation, I think most have been answered. I'm just answering one now. Back to Shannon. Hi, do you need to meet the degree and GCSE requirements or just one? Emily's answered it. Thanks, Emily. So both, please. They are both non-negotiable eligibility requirements of the programme.
Thank you.
And that's all. Great.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for answering those questions in the background. Hopefully everybody's been able to get them answered. If there are any others that you forgot to ask when you leave the call this evening and you wish you had, you can ask us as part of the follow-up process, which I will go through now. So in terms of next steps then, very simply, we will contact you all. Everybody who's joined this call this evening will contact you via email tomorrow with information on starting your application and also a form where you can request a conversation with a member of our team. So have a look for that email in your inbox sometime tomorrow. And as I said, if you're ready to begin your application, you feel that you've got all the information you need, there will be a link there to take you to the DFE Apply website where you can begin your application. If you feel that you don't have the information you need, then I would recommend not submitting that application yet. I would recommend speaking to somebody first, because we can provide that additional information. So I would then recommend completing that form, or that will be in the email, and then a member of our team locally to you will kind of get in touch either via email or phone, depending on your preferences, and we can discuss your personal circumstances and eligibility further before you apply. If you just can't wait till tomorrow and you want to begin your application now, then there's some information there on the screen. Applying for teacher training, or going onto the DFE Apply website, searching for National Institute of Teaching will bring up all of the NIOT providers. All of our campuses and associate colleges across the country are listed as NIOT at. That's how you know that it's a National Institute of Teaching provider. So searching in the provider list will give you the full drop down. Searching by postcode will give you the NIOT provider in your area locally. And as I said, I'm sure there won't be one that kind of too far away, although worth mentioning that we don't currently operate in every single part of the country at the moment. So it will depend on where you're based. For your local NIOT campus or associate college. And finally, if you would like to attend a local recruitment event, we do run these at intervals throughout the year as well. If you want to find out more about the local NIOT provision, you can visit our website and click on the events page, and there's more information there as well. If you want to know more right away this evening after this call, once you've hang up, the address is www.niot.org.uk. Our Insights page has some great things on there. Olivia recently supported with an article about preparing for your ITT interview, which is some really great hints and tips. We've also got a really good case study there from one of our primary trainees as well, Niall McCann, who talks about why he joined the profession. And there's also some additional information there on eligibility and how you can apply. Brilliant. Well, that brings us to the end of the webinar this evening. I will just check once more with Olivia that there's no final questions from anybody that have come through.
We've just had one, but it's a personal circumstance question, so I'll pick that up outside.
Great. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining this evening. It said 6 till 7, but we're going to give you 10 minutes of your time back to go and have your dinner or do whatever you would like to do. Thanks so much to Emily and to Emma and to Olivia for joining and talking so comprehensively about our programme. It was really great to hear. And yes, as I said, look forward to receiving the email from us tomorrow, which will give you a really clear next course of action. And we really hope that you will submit an application with us. And as I said, now is always a really important time to enter the teaching profession. And we would absolutely love to have you with us for our 2024 cohort when September rolls around. So thank you very much again, everybody. And we hope to see you on our programme or on our application pages very soon.
Dom, apologies. There's just been a quick one in the chat regarding the recording of this webinar. Are you sending that out afterwards with the follow-up?
Yeah, really great question. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. So the webinar has been recorded. If you would like to watch anything back, we will be sending out the recording. I can't promise that it will be with you tomorrow in the follow-up email, but we will make sure that everybody who's attended this evening has access to that recording. Yeah. Thanks, Olivia. Brilliant. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.